Hey guys, what's going on? This is Roth, and I am here very excited to be joined once again by the very beautiful Olesya Rulin and the very wonderful Max Fowler. Thank you from Powers. We are going to talk about Powers Episode 4, full spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. This is a good one. Come back and join us to dig into it a little bit. All right, let's start. This is a big episode for everybody, but for you guys in particular, I think. Pardon me. Let's first talk a little bit about, so there's two things going on. There's chaotic chick, who is the girl.
Yeah, she's the girl who I've been Skyping. We've kind of bonded over.
You're cheating on me with. Let's be clear.
I haven't even met you yet. Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, he doesn't even remember
That's
me.
awkward. But yeah. Yeah, no, so I've met, we've kind of had that, we've bonded, and there's that connection over loss, and I'm really confused.
So what's happening is...
So I've just tagged the Here and Gone Club.
Yes,
and that's how we've met.
Yes.
And then we've been texting.
Yes. You met very intimately. You jumped right, you went right to level 10 of the relationship, and you're coming back down to get to know one another a little bit now. But then there's also chaotic chic, which is the movement.
At this, what's happened now? It's not really a movement. It's more like
budding.
So she's lost. So chaotic chick has lost her cousin. And she's telling me the story of that, and obviously I immediately connect to the fact that I'm losing my dad, and I kind of just get this rage and sense of purpose, and in that. And come up with the idea of tagging the Here and Gone Club as a sort of statement and message for chaotic chick.
Yeah.
And I just name it chaotic chic. I didn't want to be too obvious and connect the dots too clearly. So, and that's how
Sending
that started.
Sending the feds straight back to her.
So that's where that lies right now. And then I'm reveling in the feeling of having just done something. Not feeling so helpless, I guess, being able to actually take action in some way. And we've just met.
Yes, you guys, you're sort of starting to connect, but do you think that there could be a conflict there because, he does have this online dynamic relationship sort of, he's gotten emotionally intimate with chaotic chick, and he likes this. Well,
it's hard though, because at this stage with chaotic chick, I don't know. I don't feel like, I don't think that Crispin and her have at any point got romantically, but we've clearly
Typical
connected.
Guy has no clue what's happening.
Probably, but it's like there's more of a connection over the fact that we are suffering,
right?
And no one seems to speak out about the fact that. It's kind of messed up, the world we live in, and how everyone raves about Powers all the time, and people are dying, and they just kind of brush that under the carpet. But I don't know. I guess with us, it's very early days, and there's definitely immediate energy there.
Yeah, I think we have an immediate spark and immediate romance and fun, and it's flirty and with chaotic chick, I feel like you have an outlet, someone that understands, that can talk to you, and there's that emotional connection that I don't obviously share with you at all.
Yeah,
not on that level.
Yeah, exactly.
When we don't know each other enough to talk about it. So.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that there is anything? I mean, it was interesting that as much as she loves and respects and wants to be with Retro Girl, in the episode prior, she didn't immediately go with her. Why? Why do you think?
I think anytime you meet your idol, your hero, they change, and all of a sudden it made Callista unsure of who she was, or she's the entire first season basically she's playing cards, and she doesn't really know what hand to play with Retro Girl, and she doesn't know how to get the best of that situation, and she's so good at manipulating people, but she can't really manipulate Retro Girl, and she knows she's losing. She thinks she's kind of lying to her well enough, but I think she just wasn't sure what to do. And sometimes when you're living at a place of scarcity and lack, when you all of a sudden get this great opportunity, it's almost like too good to be true, so you're scared. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be this way, or I can't just, and you freeze, and I think that's where Callista's at.
Do you think that there's any part of her that, Callista wants her power so much and she's so intent on getting them. If she doesn't, could she turn? You know, that love can turn to hate in a second. That obsessive kind of love can turn to hate. Could she turn on Retro Girl? Could she become embittered? Could she sort of join forces here with what is budding into kind of a chaotic chic, more of a movement?
Which is also power. Chaotic chic is power.
Right.
Any hate is a very, very strong power source. So is love. So is admiration. I do believe that Callista is capable of anything. That's what's kind of been so fun to play with her. Is she's so desperate, and she's so tired of being powerless and small and meek that at this point it's like, whatever can get me to the next step, okay.
And to belong, right?
Belong and have a sense of family, but also to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You want a community, and she'll build one wherever she can.
It's funny though, because like in the same sort of way, the fact that you're saying that Callista could go either way, and there's this sort of a feeling of tension and unease in her. It's the same. I think it's the same with Crispin. Even though he has just gone and done this tag, and it seems like there's a clear direction with where he's going, there's still lots of aspects to him where he did grow up loving powers, and he is a bit, I don't know, he's just trying to deal with his grief, basically. That's what it really is. I mean, doing all this stuff tagging, it's temporarily like fulfilling and making him feel like powerful when he's felt very scared and weak. But at the end of the day, it is just about him making peace with his pain. And which is what he's not doing. So I do think that there is still an element of him of uncertainty. You know, I feel like Chaotic Chick is much more assured. She's sort of and almost pulling him in a certain way. And then that's why it's interesting when he meets Callista, because there's also like another force to potentially pull him back to the good side and back to the side where he used to be. So there's a lot up in the air.
Yeah. Do you think so? There's this threat now that Wolfe could escape. You know, and so I wanted to talk about how that's affecting both of them. You know, they're watching it unfold. It's really scary. One of the lines she said that I thought was so interesting is, you know, she used to have wolf nightmares. Everybody did. So talk about what that figure would have been in your childhood. This
The
big,
boogeyman.
literal monster come to life and possibly coming back.
I think for Callista, it's also like Wolfe is a worse, darker, more horrible version of her father. Her biological father was very abusive, and she came from a home that was so broken and physically, emotionally, just the worst place for a child to be. And then she would see an image very similar to that on television, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I thought my dad was the worst thing that could happen. Oh, wait, what? There's something worse than that, and he can get me whatever he wants. And I'm completely powerless, not only from my father now in this like real situation I'm in, but if I ever leave, this is out there as well. So for her, it's like compounded.
How about do you think that would just put more fire under his belly? Like, I
think that anyone who eats people is just pretty scary.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I don't think there's any like particular reason. I think like most people, he just is this crazy psychopathic killer who's monstrously powerful. So I think anyone who's aware of his presence, and everyone would be, of course, because he's like incredibly
500 people in one sitting.
People hear about those guys. Yeah.
And if you go like a one step deeper, like for Callista, I feel like she's like, okay, well, once I'm in power, no one can touch me. Once I'm in power, I'm strong. No, you're not, because the only thing that can kill a power is Wolfe. Oh, great. So even when I'm a power, I'm still not safe. Fantastic. And so when she hears that, like, he's like, you know, coming out of the shaft or has an opportunity to escape, you're like, wait. All I want to do is, you know, be a power, and the one thing that can take it away from me once I get it is this guy. Great.
I was going to say, but you did mention like about it bringing fire to Crispin. You're right about that though, and it definitely does, because it's like, see, like Wolfe's the most extreme case of why I would hate powers or have reason and cause to hate powers. It's the fact that he is like potentially going to break out, and he has killed some more people, hasn't he, at this point in the shaft? So
the guards,
and just hearing that fuels my cause. Definitely, yeah.
And would probably get some recruits. You know, it's really scary for Joe Public, I'm sure. I want to talk a little bit about the dynamic with Johnny Royale, which I love their relationship. It's so great. What what's cool is that the show starts, and I think in Callista's story of her life, she is on a hero's journey, right? This is the birth of her as a hero. But when I'm watching it, I'm like, or a supervillain. I mean, she's like, can you help me go kill my dad? But you have so much compassion for why she would want to do that. So can you talk a little bit, in her story, is she a hero or is she willing to sort of be a villain?
I don't think Callista knows yet. I think that's part of, her journey, and most of our journeys as, the days go by and the years go by, you develop more and more of who you are. And at this point, she's finally getting to taste a little bit of not having to survive and to go day by day. And she can kind of make a future plan. Whatever that future plan is, she hasn't figured that out yet. And what's awesome about her is she gets to kind of bounce between the groups. She can be like with the Retro Girl and Diamond and kind of see, and then boof, in the world of Johnny Royale. And she's kind of the audience, I feel like, of the show, because she doesn't really belong anywhere. She kind of bounces all over, and you get to see her, point of view from these places. I don't think she's made up her mind, and that's probably why she's bouncing back and forth so much, because she's like, well, do I want to be bad? Is that bad? Is Johnny Royale bad? But he's doing all these nice things for me and for Simons and for the Powers kids. Ideally, his whole notion was to make a family. Well, that's better than Retro Girl ever did. All she does is hide in her tower.
Right.
Or does she? She is saving people from a hurricane. I guess that's good, but she's so isolated and mean, and she just pushed that other girl. She's not thankful for that. So, and then Diamond's just kind of like still, trying to grasp his powers back. So I don't think she knows. She's watching before she can make a decision.
Yeah, it's interesting because even as much as she sends Johnny back to kill Wolfe, say like, you got to kill him, do the right thing to save everybody, but then help me do this other murder. They're both of these characters are kind of on precipices where, should they cross over, maybe they're in a place of no return. Maybe he goes too far in his movement. Maybe she does an act that she can't ever come back from. But where do you think that they're going? Well, I'm sure you know. But what can you tease?
Do we?
What can you tease about where they're going, or is it just remain kind of a gray area?
Sorry, are you asking?
So basically, like if you go as far as you might go in Chaotic Chic, maybe you become a villain. Maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think everyone has the potential. If anyone's going down a dark path, which is usually for all the wrong reasons, if you don't have the right guidance at the right time to maybe help you stop and think about what you're doing, or at least have some space, I think you just keep going. It's a vicious circle, isn't it? And the more hurt people, basically, and it's very hard to break out of that cycle when you're deluding yourself in the idea that this is helping you, or this is helping your pain, or this is a good cause. It's your own. You are your own worst enemy. So I think there's always that potential, but I cannot say any more.
There's potential of evil.
There's potential of evil and good.
For Callista, I mean, she's seen so many extremes in her life in such a very short, lifespan of whatever, 19. She's seen so many ups and downs, and in our world of powers, it is extremes of gray. And so I think she does feel like there is a free-for-all, that she can do whatever she wants. And that's not from a cocky place. That's just, she's never had limits. She's had limits of being powerless, but never limits of power. So she's really kind of like, I can choose if and when I get what I need, I can do whatever I want, because she's never had the option to do what she's wanted before.
I guess also you're kind of drifting now as well, aren't you? It's not like you have a home where you have stability, where you sort of rules are enforced. It is a sort of free way of living, not in a good way, but still. It's not
it's actually, I think it's the opposite. I think it's incredibly limiting. When you have no home, you have no beginning. When you have no beginning, you don't know where to start. It's actually kind of fleeing and pathetic. So I think as soon as she gets power, or finds a source of power, either through Chaotic Chic or through whatever, Diamond or Johnny Royale or any of that, that's her starting point. And she's starting to find 3 or 4 starting points. So she's like, okay, well, where should I go from?
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the interesting things about this series that you really can understand these multiple points of view, and there isn't this definitive good or bad. We see Crispin was very much driven by his ego in this episode. So we're looking forward to seeing much more of Powers, particularly where you guys are
Ego-driven.
heading.
Yeah, jeez. He's just having
Me
a
too.
hard
It's
time.
okay.
For all things Powers, keep it locked right here to IGN.